Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Wednesday, August the 21st. We're here to look at the new releases that are being set free this week, and today we are looking at romance books. Quick announcements. I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Wednesday nights. Our next one are tomorrow night, Thursday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. I do them 3 times a week, every Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and then Saturday afternoons for 5 hours, starting at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow's morning show, we'll be looking at fantasy and science fiction. But today is love. Good morning, Elena. How you doing? You're great. Awesome. Good to hear. We are getting closer. Slowly but surely. If we get one more, I would be very happy. Thank you very much, baby. Hi, Anita. How are you doing? Hope you're having a good morning. We are here to look at the new releases that are romance. There's a lot. There's always a lot of books, which is fantastic. There's like about 75 minimum, probably closer to 100 every week of new books in every genre, in the entire genre, all the genres. All right. Enough dilly dally lollygagging. Let's get to the books. First up, Heavy Hitter by Katie Coutinho. Taylor and Travis, Jennifer and A-Rod, Marilyn and Joe. When a professional athlete and a megawatt star fall in love, the world is obsessed. With 4 chart-topping albums, Lacey Logan is a superstar whose life no longer feels like her own. Her every move is photographed, videoed, and dissected online in her carefully curated Instagram feed, studied by fans worldwide. To maintain her privacy, Lacey skillfully controls her narrative, showing fans and paparazzi what she wants them to see. But when Lacey discovers her boyfriend is hiding 2 devastating secrets, a bad cocaine habit and a pregnant girlfriend, she begins to lose confidence and control of her own story. Then big-shouldered baseball player Jimmy Hodges, a former Rookie of the Year when Lacey was in high school, walks into the bar where she's venting to a friend. With his shaggy beard and unfashionable button down, Jimmy is the opposite of the picture-perfect guy Lacey thinks she wants. Soon, sparks fly and inhibitions go out the window when Lacey dares to take some chances. Lacey and Jimmy are polar opposites, but could this be the forever after they both need? I have a suspicion it is. Good, and thanks to you. And good, thanks, and you. Grammar. We has it. Love and Other Conspiracies by Mallory Marlowe. Halle Barrett's life has imploded after she's dumped by her hotshot ex, who also happens to be her co-worker and the star of the online series she was producing. Without a new show to present for the company competition, she'll be out of a job. But inspiration can come from the strangest places, like the most handsome guy she's ever seen passionately discussing Bigfoot on a late-night docuseries. Hayden Hargrove made his name for himself as a cryptid expert on his hit podcast and is intrigued by the plucky blue-haired producer who offers him the opportunity to lead his own web show. When the production team sees that Hayden's solo on-screen presence is bad enough to make a ghost blanch, Hallie jumps on camera too, hitting him and his cryptids with a healthy dose of skepticism and enough chemistry to electrify their show to the top of the competition. As Hayden and Allie investigate the unknown, they unearth feelings for each other that shake their beliefs to the core. In their search for Mothman, aliens, and the truth, the most elusive discovery might just be learning to love again. They want to believe, it says on the tagline, bringing up X-Files. Storybook Ending by Poppy Alexander. In her book, she can write happily ever after, but real life, that's another matter. For children's book author Imogen, an idyllic life in the English countryside seems like the perfect fit for her and her husband. But when tragedy strikes, Imogen is left widowed and finds herself moving into Storybook Cottage alone with only her monstrously narcissistic cat for company. After discovering she is pregnant, Imogen grows determined to embrace a new start in Middlemass with its duck pond, cricket matches, and village fetes. The only thing Imogen can't seem to shake is her neighbor, a brooding artisan blacksmith named Gabriel, who she can't quite decide is friend or foe. That is until she realizes, thanks to an arcane clause in her deeds, that Gabriel, not just an artist but lord of the local manor house, has the power to take her home and leave her completely broke. Devastatingly, he seems keen to do exactly that, yet Imogen finds herself drawn to him nonetheless. And in her darkest hour, Gabriel may just be the bright spot to save Imogen in more ways than one. Seriously? Her husband just died and she's pregnant with his baby, and we're talking about love with another guy already? Good lord. That better be some fancy writing. Bridesmaid Undercover by Megan Quinn. Second in Bridesmaids for Hire. Bridemaid for Hire. Everly Plum is delighted to be heading up the Bridesmaid for Hire program at Magical Moments by Maggie. And when Hardy Hopper, one of their billionaire investors, approaches Everly for help with his friend's wedding, she's more than happy to step in. But Hardy has an extra assignment for her. His ex-girlfriend will be the maid of honor opposite his role as best man, and he wants Everly's help getting her back. There's only one problem. Everly may have a tiny crush on the dashing businessman, but despite the way Hardy makes her stomach flutter, she's determined to prove herself, both as a bridesmaid and as a matchmaker. That is, until she finds her crush turning into real feelings. Not to mention, Hardy can't help but notice how well he clicks with Everly, and before he knows it, he's not looking for his ex's attention anymore. But even after their simmering attraction finally arises to the surface, they will have to contend with meddling friends, poor timing, and professional boundaries, and the risk that no one might get a second chance after all. And I apologize, I didn't click on it. That's the book we were talking about. Giving it a moment to shine. Going on to the next row. A Season of Perfect Happiness by Marybeth Fisher. That's a pretty cover. 10 years after an unspeakable tragedy caused Claire to flee her hometown in Delaware, she finally feels content. She has a quiet, tidy life in Wisconsin, a place she picked at random for its shape on a map. Her careful existence centers on a simple plan: keep her social circle small and keep the past a secret. But when she meets Eric, a lighthearted theater nerd who gives Claire more of a chance than she's given herself in a long time, that plan seems increasingly impossible, especially after she finds herself emotionally entangled, not only with Eric, but with his ex-wife Annabelle, their 3 young children, and a small set of friends, the kind she'd always wanted to have around her. Life after the accident can be full of joy, Claire realizes, going on a date to see a 1,000-pound pig at the state fair, giggling over obscure inside jokes with friends at a music gig, making smoothies while the kids wear their infamous cooking hats, being a partner, a best friend, a mother. But when a person from her past arrives, Claire's worst mistake threatens her new life, and the deep friendship she's made hung in the balance. If Claire chooses to share the part of herself she has kept locked away for so long, will the family she has built still recognize her and have a place for her? Or will everything she has spent the last decade working toward fall apart? Quick tangent question. I know names matter. Names absolutely matter, and that's why there are very power names and blah, blah, blah. But does a romance book turn you off if the name is somebody that you have, not that person, but it's the same name as somebody you know, like a brother? Like, ew, can you really get into a romance book if it's a name of somebody, the name is similar to somebody that doesn't just absolutely work? Inquiring minds want to know. What She's Having by Laura Moore, second in the Big Love from Galway. July Tate is a force to be reckoned with, a big, strong blonde with a heart the size of her whole town, but beneath her capable exterior lies the scars of a devastating lost love. To July, love equals vulnerability, and she can't afford either. Joe Anderson knew from the first moment he saw her that July was the one. Now, after years apart, he's back, driven by the need to explain his disappearance. In search of the girl who filled his teenage dreams, he finds instead a powerhouse woman who steals his heart and soul. Joe embodies everything July has been missing, and together they spark as brightly as ever. But with Joe around, July, who can usually outwork four men, is suddenly making mistakes right and left. And that scares her, because if July falls again, this time her beloved town could go down with her. Next up, one of my favorite authors, or an author I've enjoyed in the last year, but I've not read this series. I love her historical mystery featuring Lord Julian. The Mysterious Marquess by Grace Burrows, second in the Bad Air Days tales. The Prodigal Peer. Lucian, Marquess of Linfield, disappeared from the family seat nearly a decade ago, and now he's back, ready to take his inheritance in hand. Questions swirl. Where was he? Why return now? What sort of man has he become? And Lucian can't offer much in the way of explanations. All he knows is the dearest companion of his youth, Lady Penelope Richard, they wouldn't be companions, is being courted by a handsome cad, and Lucian cannot allow her ladyship to waste her future on a scoundrel. Or the return of a rogue. Penelope hasn't seen Lucian for years, but she's been too angry with him to abandoning her to forget him. He broke her heart when he left the first time, and she's quite entirely, completely over him. Almost, until old passion stirs back to life. Weird grammar there. Hotter and more dangerous than ever. If Lucian and Penelope are to share their hearts as well as searing kisses, they will have to fight their own worst fears and outwit an enemy who will do anything to keep them apart. Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks, a Love in Galway novel. Falling for the wrong person? Bury your feelings. Painfully shy, Callum Flannelly would rather dive into an open grave than take a stranger to dinner. But he can only inherit the family undertaking business under one condition. He must marry before his 35th birthday. Texan animator Lark Thompson moved to Galway, Ireland to restart her life and career, not to be reminded of losing her husband by moving in next to a funeral home. But when she learns of Callum's dilemma, Lark's certain she can help him find the one, even if she's sworn off love herself. Though as the dating project progresses and Lark spends more time with straight-laced, sarcastic Callum, he starts to crack the ice around her grieving heart. And the more joy that vivacious Lark brings to Callum's gray existence, the less he can imagine letting her return to Texas. If they think they can ignore their connection, they're dead wrong. You can find love anywhere. End of another row. On to a third row. Love Lost on 6th Street by Lolu Sinclair. Sorry, coffee was required. Archivist Eleanor Hayes thought her temporary job at Austin's Music Library would be all about dusty files and faded images, but when she stumbles upon a captivating photo of a mysterious young musician from 1993, her life gets a whole lot more interesting. Determined to uncover the woman's story, Eleanor dives headfirst into Austin's vibrant music scene, armed with her trusty camera and a gift for awkward encounters. Enter Luke Wyatt, the too charming for his own good music promoter who knows every neon-lit corner of 6th Street. When Eleanor's curiosity pulls her into his world, sparks fly. As they chase down clues from legendary clubs to vintage record shops, Their partnership becomes a whirlwind of dive bars, taco trucks, and late night texting. With every clue they uncover, the chemistry between them steams up Eleanor's glasses and tightens Luke's trousers. Can they solve the mystery of the enigmatic drinking game musician, or will their own story steal the show? In a city where music is everywhere and affordable apartments are harder to find than a hipster without a beard, Eleanor and Luke are about to find that sometimes the best discoveries are the ones you never saw coming. How to charm a nerd. Nerd! I will stay on today and also have to work on Big Sunday. It's volunteer site when each of us are getting paid. It's $1 per day. Well, that sounds kind of fun. Do you like doing it? And Elena said, hello, Anita. How to Charm a Nerd. Wicked Sisters #2 by Catherine Garbera. Dungeons and Dragons and Nerds. Oh my. The spooky season is almost here, and occultist, and they're pushing it on us more and more. An occultist and tarot reader, Liberty Wakefield, is already feeling it. But ever since her sick Nan muttered the name of Liberty's mysterious biological father, nothing feels normal. Not her friends, her family, nor the quirky shop she runs with her besties. So maybe it's time for Liberty to track down the father she's never met. Of course, that means getting a little help from the sexy nerd she's been not so secretly vibing since last summer. Merle Rutland hasn't met anyone like the vivacious, bubbly Liberty. Part of him wishes he was more like her, instead of hiding his geekery from his hyper-athletic family. The other part just wants to pull the curvy redhead close, steal a kiss, and hope he doesn't roll a critical fail. Only somewhere between Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, pumpkins, and a few ridiculously hot, sexy times, Liberty and Merle discover their respective weirds might be a match. Yet, as Halloween draws closer, it seems everyone has skeletons in the closet, and nothing spells disaster quite like being haunted by the past. This next one is an anthology, but we didn't get very many pretty big dresses lately, so. Hot Duke Summer, Regency Historical Romance Anthology, and I'm just going to read some of the authors here. Scarlett Scott, Alexa Aston, Annabelle Anders, Mira Platt, Kathleen Ayers, Chastity Boland, Sarah Adrian, Jude Knight. I am so out of romance authors for the most part. Those names don't mean anything to me, but maybe they mean something to you. On to the next. Holding Out for a Euro by Mary Ann Marlowe. If you're really lucky, you have a best friend who pushes you to do the stuff that scares you. We have this whole thing where we challenge each other to take some calculated risks and do everything we're terrified to do. Of course, when you avoid love at all costs, that means doing the unthinkable, being vulnerable. So for one night, I'm going to be completely and brutally real about who I am to a complete stranger whose mischievous and ridiculously dark eyes promise all kinds of trouble. I'll open the darkest corners of my soul to him. I'll admit I run from love, that I believe in mind-blowing sex, not soulmates. Hell, I'll even tell him why. The problem is that instead of running screaming the way I and any level-headed commitment phobe would, the hot Greek guy is actually intrigued. I shouldn't want to kiss him. I shouldn't want more, but I do. It was just supposed to be a one-off thing. Bare my soul, flee at the stroke of midnight, and never see him again. But FML, I just discovered he's the genius chef at my favorite organic kitchen and is single-handedly responsible for keeping me and my stomach so happy these past few months. He's the perfect Greek hero. The only problem is that when it comes to romance, I might be the perfect villain. Another row done. We're probably not going to make it, but we'll get close. Enticing Her Love, Sutton Steele, Book 6 in the Steels of Silver Island by Melissa Foster. Pro, stuck sharing a bed with my hot brooding boss. Con, he's trying to get me fired. Discovery Hour reporter Sutton Steele spends her days trying to keep her job while her insanely hot, infuriating boss Flynn Braden would love nothing more than to see her gone. When their assignment goes awry and they're stuck in a remote location with only one bed, the only thing hotter than their emotions is their explosive chemistry. Come along for the fun, blah, blah, blah. Probably really no plot there. They're just there for the sexy times. Sometimes you're in the mood for that. Good Duke Gone Wild by Bethany Bennett. Dorian Whitaker. Oh, and his darn shirt just won't stay on. Dorian Whitaker, Duke of Holland, needs an heir after his so-called fairy tale marriage ended in disaster. With the intriguing bookseller he's hired to liquidate his late wife's library finds love letters revealing an affair, he is drawn into a mystery alongside a lady whose sharp intellect dazzles him and dares him to imagine a new adventure outside the gilded cage of the temps. If anyone found out Carolyn Danvers writes erotic novels under a pen name, she'd face utter ruin. Except her latest hero inspiration is none other than the Duke of Holland, a man with the power to destroy her family's bookshop. And yet the real man proves to be so much more than the character she's created. Even as they expose the dark secrets of his past, she knows he can never discover her own. But the more time they spend together, the more tempting it is to rewrite their ending and turn fantasy into reality. We can do it. We can do it. Going Toe to Toe by Yara St. John, fifth in the Six Gems series. Sometimes you just have to take the leap. It happens in Aruba. What happens in Aruba stays in Aruba. That's what former ballerina Lyric Taylor keeps telling herself, at least. After all, now that the curtain has closed on her ballet career and with the search for her biological parent stalling, she could use a little distraction. So when a lodging mix-up leads to an unexpected fling in paradise with her sexy bunkmate Devon, Lyric takes the plunge. 7 days of sun, sand, and plenty of sizzle. And when it's time to go home, no, there are no strings. Sitch will come to an end, right? Single dad Devon Masters spent the last 8 years shielding his daughter Kiana from life's disappointments, and he's gotten pretty good at cutting paint off at the pass. But nothing can prepare him for this latest bombshell, discovering Lyric Taylor is Kiana's new dance teacher. What happened in Aruba seems to have followed them home, but they'll have to keep it under wraps for as long as they can. Soon, however, new feelings take hold and old wounds resurface. Will they finally find the rhythm they need to redefine what belonging truly means? Maybe, maybe. We have one more. Let's push it. Push it, push it. Like Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult. Big name. Young playwright Melina Green has just written a new work inspired by the life of her Elizabethan ancestor Emilia Bassano, but seeing it performed is unlikely in a theater world where the playing field isn't level for women. As Melina wonders if she dares risk failure again, her best friend takes the decision out of her hands and submits the play to a festival under a male pseudonym. In 1581, young Amelia Bassano is a ward of English aristocrats. Her lessons on languages, history, and writing have endowed her with a sharp wit and a gift for storytelling. But like most women of her day, she is allowed no voice of her own. Forced to become a mistress to the Lord Chamberlain, who oversees all theater productions in England, Amelia sees firsthand how the words of playwrights can move an audience. She begins to form a plan secretly to play her own to the stage by paying an actor named William Shakespeare to front her work. Oh, blah. Anyway, I'm sorry, Shakespeare was Shakespeare. All right, that's all we have time for today. I actually have a headache. Oh dear, and yesterday we went bowling. I got a strike. Very nice. A few spares. My score from yesterday was 108. Oh, sounds like you had a good time. All righty. Well, again, I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Wednesdays. We will have them tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow we'll be looking at the new releases that are fantasy and science fiction. On Friday is Freeform Friday, and we had a lot of leftovers from Monday and Tuesday, so we'll be looking at those. So have a very good day. Please take care of yourselves, read good books, and as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Om nom nom. Have a good day and God bless.